What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to this last video of the intuitive eating series. I'm super excited to share my last final tips with you guys, and I hope that you guys have been implementing all of the tips that I've been giving you so far throughout the series. If you haven't watched the other videos, I encourage you to go back and watch even the introduction all the way up until here, so that you can go ahead and practice everything that I've shared with you guys and make sure that you are really learning along with the process as we go through this series. So in the past videos, we've been going over a ton of things to help you transition from counting your macros, tracking your calories, and food rules into intuitive eating. And I know in the last video we went over the honeymoon phase and kind of how to navigate that. Today, for this last final video, I wanted to go over how to avoid overeating and undereating. I've been getting a ton of questions. I was asking you guys, what more can I provide you guys with? What other questions are super important for you guys to learn? And I got a ton of questions about, okay, like, I'm down for intuitive eating, but like, how much do I eat? And it honestly comes down to the fact that whenever you are practicing intuitive eating, and you are truly in tune with your body and listening to your body as much as possible, your body's gonna guide you, and you really have to lean into that hunger and lean into trusting your body that it's gonna let you know when it needs fuel or when it's done, when it doesn't need more fuel. That's honestly the simple answer. But I know that for some people that can be very challenging. And I know for me, whenever I was going from tracking the macros for 3 years to intuitive eating, I was kind of like, okay, but how much protein am I getting in? And like, I would always want to check up on my numbers. Well, eventually I got out of this habit because I realized that on the days that I wasn't tracking, I felt a lot better, I felt more free, and I would just eat when I was hungry. I think for most people, the real question is, how do I avoid overeating? Because most people, they tell me like, okay, if I don't have a limit, I can just go. And that was me too. I had absolutely zero control because whenever I wasn't tracking my macros, that meant binge time. So that can be super hard to navigate, and I know that for me, I did not trust myself around food whatsoever. I felt like I had zero self-control. But that was just a story I was telling myself in my head. And whenever you start intuitive eating, like I was telling you guys in the last video with that honeymoon phase, you are going to want to give in to all of those foods that were previously restricted, and that is okay. And you have to realize that you're not going to want to keep eating those foods forever and ever. It's just kind of this phase that you have to go through, and that's okay. You kind of have to learn from that, and you have to experience it and learn from it and then move on. It's important to really think about food as something that you don't have to control. It's just something that, it's not a numerical value, it's just a thing. It's nourishment and energy that helps us do our daily activities. And it can be pleasurable or non-pleasurable. It totally depends on the story that you're telling yourself and the things that you're thinking in your head as to what that food means and how much control it has over you. As far as the control thing goes, I think it's important to first implement all of those tips that I told you guys with the other videos. Make sure you go back and watch those and really take in those tips and implement them every single day as you're transitioning into this intuitive eating space. But you also need to understand that there are going to be times whenever you're going to undereat and whenever you're going to overeat, and that just happens with the ebbs and flows of our bodies. I mean, some days we're hungrier than others, some days we aren't as hungry, and that is okay. I think all of us have kind of grown up with this thought of we have to stick to a certain number every single day, like our macros and our calories, but our bodies need different things, especially as women, especially with our hormones, that, our body does these ebbs and flows, and it's okay to not eat the same thing every day or eat the same amount every day. And some days we are going to be hungrier than others, and it's okay to eat more other days than others. It's okay. And this is something that was really hard for me to wrap my mind around, but if you really look at it in terms of a physiological aspect of our hormones rising and falling with our cycles and with just our bodies, it makes sense that some days we're going to be hungrier than others because our body's telling us that we need that energy coming in. if you're really struggling with the overeating and you've been implementing all of those tips, remember that that is the most important thing, to practice that mindfulness and be totally aware and be in tune with your body as much as possible. But if you find that you're really still struggling with it, I honestly think that you're still probably restricting too much, and that's causing you to overeat, or you're missing certain nutrients. There could be some deeper root level things that could be going on, especially with hormones and everything like that. So at that point, it would be time to seek some additional help. But it's really, guys, it's this process, and it's just something you have to be patient with, and you have to realize that, you know, the cravings and feeling like you're out of control with food, that is just because you've been trying to control your food so long through tracking and counting and having these food rules. You've created this like safe space, and now you're trying to break out of it. And so you kind of feel out of control, and I know that's exactly how I felt. But at the end of the day, if you really sit down and think about it, it's not about control whatsoever. It's about being in tune with your body. So once you really take those steps that I talked about to get in tune with your body and to learn your hunger and learn your fullness and learn all of your cues and what your body's telling you, it's a lot easier to feel in control with food. It's easier because you're more in tune with your body and you know what's going on, what your body's telling you, what it needs, everything like that. The last point I wanted to talk about with this is that really with intuitive eating, it's kind of a surrender. It's kind of just saying, okay, I surrender, I give up all of my food rules and all of my food restrictions because I trust myself and I trust my body and I trust my mind, and I know that they can work together and I can be in tune with myself and that my body is working for me. So that's something I like to tell myself whenever I'm kind of feeling that out of control moment. It's, you have to just be like, okay, I surrender. Like, I know that my body is able and is going to work for me and everything is going to be okay. You know, it's really that surrender of giving up those food rules and trying to control every little aspect of your food and your weight and everything like that. So last but not least, guys, just remember that this is a journey and that it's going to take time and patience to change the thought patterns, to change your habits and everything like that. And it can be really tough, and that's okay. And that's what I've experienced, and that's what a million other people experience. But it's just a process of relearning yourself and getting in tune with yourself. And just like counting your calories or counting your macros or having these food rules, just like that was a habit, you can make intuitive eating a habit as well. And that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I really love teaching you guys this stuff, and any additional questions that you guys have, please just let me know. You can message me, email me, just leave a comment, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But that'll be it. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.